Chrissy, Teigen, A Very Sinking Narcissist, Part 6. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I'm working my way through the supposed mea culpa that appears on Chrissy Teigen's blog. I continue to analyse what's really going on with regard to the spoon-faced narcissist, explaining what's really being meant in what she's writing to enable you to understand it better and to extend your knowledge of narcissism. With your chuck bucket and handkerchief to the ready, let's dive straight back in. Teigen writes, I'm telling you this for context, not seeking or deserving any sympathy. Actually, it's a huge pity play, and I'm being a hypocrite again. There's no justification for my behaviour. At the time, it was justified because my narcissism did. Now, I'm suggesting that there is no justification for it after the event, when it's very easy to write these things, but actually, the damage has already been done, again and again and again. I'm not a victim here, although actually my narcissism considers that I am. Otherwise, why would I be repeatedly doling out these pity plays? The subjects of your sympathy and mine should be those I put down. False compassion. The truth is, I'm no longer the person who wrote those horrible things. Blame shifting, deflection. Oh yes, you are. I grew up. No, you didn't. Got therapy. Maybe. Got married. Evidently. Had kids. Evidently. You plaster them all over social media because they're little extensions of who you are. Got more therapy. Experienced loss and pain. Pity play. Got more therapy. And experienced more life. Capitals now. And got more therapy. Life has made me more empathetic. No, it hasn't. You haven't an ounce of emotional empathy in your body. Your narcissism causes you to believe falsely that you have become more empathetic because it's causing you to write those words because those are the necessary ones to write in order to assert control, to try and nullify the threats to control being posed by your exposure for your awful, awful behaviour to other individuals. The fact remains that if you were empathetic, you wouldn't have written what you've written. And you, as a narcissist, can't gain any empathy. It can't be injected into you, but your narcissism can con you into believing that you have gained it. I'm more understanding of what motivates trolling, the instant gratification that you get from lashing out and clapping back, throwing rocks at someone you think is invincible because they're famous. No, it's nothing to do with that, but your narcissism, again because you're unaware, misleads you into believing that's the case. Also, I know how it feels to be on the receiving end of incredible vitriol. Pity play. Diminution of the experience of the victims. Believe me, the irony of this is not lost on me. It entirely is. You repeatedly demonstrate that through what you've written, Chrissy Teigen. John tells me almost every day how much our daughter Luna reminds him of me. Relevance? It isn't, but it's all about the extension of self and grandiosity. Every day, I try to make sure she's all the best parts of me. Grandiosity, extension of self. All the things I aspire to be all the time, but fail at sometimes. Pity play. And we preach kindness to her and Miles every chance we get. Grandiosity, sense of entitlement. Will they eventually realise there is some hypocrisy there? I certainly do. No, you don't. But I hope they recognise my evolution. Why should they? They're children ages 3 and 5. And again, that shows the disconnect between understanding an individual because you have no emotional empathy. My goal is to be so good, all about self, self-absorbed grandiosity, that my kids will think this was all a fairy tale. Word salad, grandiosity, magical thinking. Not the fake good. The good that has the best intentions. The good who wakes up wanting to make her friends, family, her team and fans as happy as possible. I've already explained in part 4 my views about all of that. The good who will still fuck up in front of the world, but rarely and never not growing any more good from it. I'm going to keep working to be the best version of myself for everyone. Oh, hallelujah, how the world rejoices. Thank goodness you've done that, Chrissy Teigen. Our lives would be a howling wilderness without you doing this for all of us. Grandiosity, promise change. Everyone deserves better, even my detractors. Oh, how magnanimous of you, sitting there in your ivory tower, telling even your detractors. Why are you mentioning your detractors? Because it's another pity play. You're meant to be apologising, not talking about how you feel. The entirety of this vomit fest shows a complete inability to understand anything that those individuals have experienced as a consequence of her behaviour, and that demonstrates the low level of the narcissism at which she operates. And better is what you can expect from me, promise change. The world needs more kindness and love, and I want to contribute to it. Grandiosity. I've been on a path of self-improvement for the past decade, delusion, hypocrisy, and that path is going to continue. Promise change. I truly love that social media has connected me to so many of you. Absolutely, but not for the reasons that you believe. You love it because it enables you to assert control and draw fuel and acquire residual benefits. We've shared so much. Basically, I've told you how it is and you've all had to lap it up because I'm the controller, you're the control. I've learned so much, I've grown so much, horseshit, and I love what you have meant to me. Yes, you're all wonderful appliances that largely do what I want. I have so much love to give if you are open and willing to accept it. So, if you don't, it's your fault, blame shifting. And if not, that's okay too. Oh, thank you, Your Royal Highness, for allowing it to be okay. Since when were you appointed judge and arbiter of all that's right and wrong? That's something I work on, being more okay with every day. I know I let you down. No, you didn't. Your narcissism just tells you that. But I hope I can make you proud. It's been a heavy few weeks, so I'm going to take some more time to focus on things that are most important, being with my family and taking care of myself. Make it all about you, you self-absorbed idiot. Why don't you spend a bit of time engaging in doing something meaningful for the victims, going and seeing them, allowing them to express how they feel while you sit in silence and listen? Of course, it's not going to get anywhere with you because your narcissist will prevent it, but at least it would appear that you're doing something more meaningful than this, which is just talking about yourself all the way through. We are all more than our worst moments. Claptrap, soundbite, horseshite. I won't ask for your forgiveness, except I am, only your patience and tolerance. I ask that you allow me, as I promised to allow you. Oh, how good of you to allow people to do this, to own past mistakes and be given the opportunity to seek self-improvement and change. Promise change. Phew, a lot, I know. Thanks for listening. And there you have it. Facade management, sense of entitlement, lack of accountability, festooned with manipulations, chief of which are pity plays, triangulation, promised change, false contrition, false compassion. The mealy-mouthed, empty words of a narcissist in action, looking to assert control over the readership, indirectly asserting control over other people, trying to stabilise the threat to control that has occurred as a consequence of her exposure as a thoroughly unpleasant individual, actually a narcissist, and of course seeking to prevent the loss of residual benefits arising from the backlash that has occurred so that brands want to distance themselves from her. This was not occasioned at an earlier juncture. Why? There was no need for her narcissism to do it, so she didn't do it. Her narcissism has compelled her to do it now because of the threats to control, the need for fuel, and the threats to her residual benefits. She can't see this because she's an unaware narcissist. She can't see this because the narcissism will not allow her to see this. The narcissism has to ensure that she thinks that she's doing all of this for the most noble of reasons, to cause her to do it, to nullify the threats to control, to assert control, to gain the fuel, and to acquire and maintain the residual benefits. This is an excellent example of the behaviour and dynamics of an unaware narcissist, and it behooves you, dear and valuable listeners, to share this material far and wide, whilst we strike as the iron is hot, so that more people utilise a high-profile example, so that they first of all don't fall for this claptrap, as some people will do, that people actually understand what is going on, and also quite possibly to enable them to make the bridge between this kind of behaviour and what they might be experiencing in their own lives. Do like these videos, ensure you subscribe to them, and just as importantly, share them far and wide. Make sure your notifications are turned on. YouTube can be a little rascal at times and tries to prevent you getting notifications of my excellent material. Let's nullify that threat to control together. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening.